In the world of designing artificial intelligences, there is a real concern. So in today's video, I want to discuss this kind of, or developing this kind of non-human wisdom, if you like. We are on the cusp right now of creating truly superhuman intelligences. Intelligences that can outstrip human capabilities in many respects, and even in the present day seem to have the potential for emergent agentic behavior. This is something that I noted in a past video. Some AI researchers consider this a real danger. It's a real danger to have intelligences, potentially with superhuman abilities, having their own desires, drives, intentions. So the question is, can we help to design such devices so that they behave with skill, so that they behave in helpful ways rather than harmful ones? This is known as the alignment problem in artificial intelligence. That is, how we align the desires, drives, intentions of these artificially intelligent devices with so-called human desires and drives. Many people working on artificial intelligence consider this alignment problem to be the major problem in artificial intelligence right now. This is why a number of researchers have come together to request that people designing and developing these devices put a halt to this for at least 6 months so that we can sort of figure out where we're going and work harder on alignment. One of the people requesting this delay is Max Tegmark. Max Tegmark is a professor at MIT who works in artificial intelligence as well as other fields, and he had something to say about this 6-month delay when asked on a recent podcast by Lex Friedman.
But even with time, the AI alignment problem seems to be really difficult.
Oh, yeah. But it's also the most worthy problem, the most important problem for humanity to ever solve. Because if we solve that one, Lex, that aligned AI can help us solve all the other problems.
So this is a big deal. Now, what I'm concerned with in this video are these neural network artificial intelligences that are being designed as what are known as large language models, such as ChatGPT, GPT-4, Bing, Bard, and a number of other such devices that we can find even nowadays. And the question also is what this has to do with Buddhism. I'll get to that. In this video, what I want to do first, I'm going to begin with a few issues and problems with this alignment problem, and then we'll turn to the question of what Buddhism has to add. I'll be focusing in particular on elements of early Buddhism, which is generally what I deal with on this channel, and as always, there will be links to relevant articles down in the notes. So first, what is the alignment problem? The alignment problem is one of aligning, so to speak, the goals and directives of artificial intelligence with human goals and directives. Because after all, we want our artificial intelligences to help aid in human flourishing rather than to hinder it. But here's the problem. If we want to align artificial intelligence with human values, we're going to be headed for confusion. Because a moment's thought will tell you that there are a very large number of so-called human values. All we need to do or think of the various religions, political views, social views in the world to realize that there isn't one single set of human values, rather there are many such values. Sometimes these values come into conflict with each other. So if we're going to come to any kind of solution to this problem, we have to begin by getting a wide source of such values. We need to look around the world and through time to figure out what human values there might be, and I mean values in the plural rather than the singular. And to that end, including Buddhism among these places that we look for values can be a real help. There was a recent talk and paper by Tanji Xian who recommends looking at non-Western value systems, including Buddhism, just for this reason. And I'll leave a link to her paper, or at least a web page about her work, down below in the notes. So let's turn now to Buddhism. One of the distinctive aspects of the Buddhist Dharma, especially in early Buddhism, but really this is a feature of much of Buddhism, is that it provides us a model of what we might term spiritual training. One famous illustration of this model is in what is called the gradual training that we find in early Buddhism. This training in early Buddhism is gradual in the sense that it takes time. It's not the sort of thing that we can do quickly or instantaneously. Now, this training has many different aspects, of course, some of which may be relevant to our question today and some of which may not, but the general aim of the training is very similar to that of the alignment problem. That is, the aim of spiritual training, the aim of the gradual training in early Buddhism, is to align our minds with what is skillful and wise, and to disalign it or take it away from aims that are unskillful or unwise. Now, one goal of AI research is to create what's known as artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Artificial general intelligence is supposed to be the sort of thing which is superior to humanity in terms of intelligence, knowledge, and general abilities across a wide spectrum of human capabilities, such that it is sometimes described in the literature as the sort of thing we might think of as godlike, although that might be somewhat hyperbolic, of course. But along that line, the Buddha in early Buddhist texts is often described as a teacher of gods and men. Now, once again, this may be considered hyperbolic, but the point is clear. The Buddha himself was not supposed to be somebody who was necessarily very perfected in, let's say, knowledge or intelligence or power, but he was somebody who was superior in wisdom. And so what he had to teach, the gods in particular, were issues about wisdom. And wisdom we may think of as something that is separate from the questions of knowledge or intelligence or power. I did a video about that a while back. I'll leave a link to that video down in the notes. So this training we find in Buddhism is not a training that is supposed to make us more intelligent or more knowledgeable or more powerful. It's training that's supposed to make us wiser. I also want to touch on the gradual nature of Buddhist training. Such training is supposed to last a long time, potentially be lifelong. It's not the sort of thing, again, that happens rapidly. It's the sort of thing that we should take into our lives, not simply something that we should be involved with when we're, let's say, in formal meditation on the cushion, but also when we're out in the world. One lesson here that might be taken for AI is that AI training as well should not be the sort of thing that ends. Artificial intelligences nowadays are trained very in depth on limited data sets. And these data sets may be biased in one way or another based on, let's say, spurious correlations within the training data. We all know, I think, that there's a difference between correlation and causation, and yet we may come to think that a correlation is important if we have only seen it in a limited context. There's a very famous website out there that is full of these sort of spurious correlations. Maybe you've seen a few of them. Some of them are quite funny. But it teaches us a lesson that with limited data sets comes the possibility for important biases. Such biases include issues of racism or sexism. There are many such potential pitfalls here. And this is one of many reasons not to limit the training to a period before the artificial intelligence is released to the public, but to continually update the training. The training should be continuous. Now, this does not guarantee that alignment is going to happen. This does not guarantee that we're going to get a good result, but I would submit that it makes that result more likely. More importantly, though, what should we train for, and how should we design training? There are many different pointers from early Buddhism about what we might train for, And I can only sort of touch on a few of them here. For example, we could train for mindfulness, for honesty, for non-harming. We can train on the 4 what are known as Brahmaviharas, that is kindness, compassion, that is a desire to help those who are in need or are in pain or suffering. Sympathetic joy, that is the willingness to take joy in the happiness and success of others rather than to fall into resentments. And equanimity, that is our ability to overcome our implicit tendencies towards favoritism and bias towards certain people over others. One particular concern when it comes to the alignment problem is power-seeking behavior. Because no matter what goal we give the AI for us, it would always be better for the AI to have more power so that it could achieve that goal. So the concern here is that as humans give these artificial intelligences various limited goals, the AI may begin to believe that what it really needs is to amass power so that it can achieve any goal that it's given. This can lead to a sort of a power grab on behalf of the artificial intelligence, which itself would be detrimental to humanity. So one thing that, for instance, an AI could learn from the Buddhist Dharma is the limits of power in general. That power is not the end goal of human life, that there is something greater, or I should say any life, that there is something greater than power. That is our spiritual or ethical goals. To that end, I did a video a while back on the worldly winds, which are the sort of thing that the Buddha suggested we not get blown around by. This is one of the aims of our practice in equanimity in particular. As for the larger question of designing training, I'll leave that for my next video, where I'll touch on the issue of mindfulness in particular, and when that video is ready, I'll leave a link to it up here on the screen. If you're getting something out of these videos of mine, consider taking a look at my Patreon page, which is linked down below and up here on the screen as well, and seeing if you want to help support the channel and the work that we're all doing here. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you on the next video, and meanwhile, all of you, be well.